Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Elden Ring, and today I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the game details that we currently have. Of course, after waiting for quite some time, we did finally get our new trailer recently, which was fantastic. It showed some really cool gameplay, showed the fantastic world, showed the sort of sense of scale, and if you haven't seen that, then I will link my sort of original video down below. But in this one, I want to talk about some more details, because following that gameplay trailer, IGN had an interview with Miyazaki, and during that, he managed to sort of shed some light on different aspects of the game. So I thought in this video, I would focus on some of the things you want to know. The world, enemy design, customization, that kind of stuff. So if you do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated, and be sure to keep it locked if you're excited for Elden Ring. But first things first, if you've seen the trailer, you'll of course know that it's evident they have a very big sense of scale for this game. In fact, in the interview, Miyazaki specifically said that the trailer sort of did this very intentionally, because this game has sort of set the stage for the most freeform game that they have ever produced in the sort of Dark Souls series. So it's going to give you a lot of freedom to explore. And when we kind of talk more about the world, you'll often hear the term the lands between. This is often referred to when kind of speaking about this game, and this is actually a name that was invented by George R.R. Martin himself when sort of writing the history and the deep sort of mythos around the world. Miyazaki said that they hope that, as well as sort of taking away the idea of it being sort of a short impetus and a starting place of the world, we want people to feel that it's like an invitation to this mysterious new land. So the sort of lands between is definitely going to be something we're going to be exploring in a bigger capacity. In fact, this area, the lands between, is made up of 6 major areas, each of which is the domain of a major demigod character. Miyazaki then went on to say that while it will be apparent that there is an sort of quote-unquote order to how players can tackle these 6 areas, you don't have to follow this. So, it is going to give you the freedom to a degree, play the game how you like, even if they do have sort of their own vision for the way you should do it. He did say that they wanted to give a level of freedom to progression and exploration through the lands, so that there's lots of sort of different ways to play the game. He did say naturally you won't be able to access everything from the start, but there are a lot of different ways you can approach each area, and there's also a lot of freedom as to the ways that you tackle those different areas as well. He then broke it down further, explaining that each of the 6 areas will house its own mainline dungeon map, which seamlessly connects to the lands between. There's even a hub, not sort of unlike Dark Souls' Filing Shrine, where players can then branch out, and that can be accessed a little later in the game. Beyond the main dungeons of the 6 sort of domains, there will also be a wide variety of catacombs and castles and fortresses, which are also interspersed throughout the maps, giving you more things to explore, find items, battle enemies, that kind of stuff. Speaking of enemies, speaking about sort of enemy design, they said that there are several themes to the enemy designs. One of the main themes of the main bosses of the game, in particular, are that they are essentially demigods and characters who are written again by George R.R. Martin. They inherited the sort of mad, tainted power from the Elden Ring shards that was once shattered, and they wanted to sort of depict these beings not just as creatures and horrible monsters, but also they wanted them to have an element of heroism and an element of sort of mythology to them as well. It's also worth noting that part of the design of these major characters is that in inheriting the sort of shards of the Elden Ring, they also inherited a different power or element, so to speak, and each of those was twisted and warped in their own way, and it brought this sort of tainted strength to each of them. They all fell to madness and fell to sort of ruin in their own individual ways, so while there is a heroic mythological element to them, they are still going to have this very mad taint that basically, we're going to have to deal with. Also, quickly a note on sort of exploring the world. The game will have fast travel. Again, obviously you will have a mount that you can use to sort of explore the world, and you can go freely and move around as you want. But they did say they also wanted to take into account the level of sort of comfort and ease of play for some players, so they did incorporate fast travel for those really long distances. Now, a little note on sort of character progression. They said that with the increased size and sort of scale of this vast new map, they wanted to allow for a certain amount of progression and reward no matter which direction the player chooses to take, which path they take, that sort of thing. You will find those elements to battle and those elements to just exploring the world, which will then allow you to keep going. They said you can customize and craft items on the go by using materials found in the world. There are also more resources to recover health on the way, as you'll be fighting for a longer time than before. They said the key word is retention here, and retaining a sense of progression. So they wanted players to basically keep going, to sort of keep that flow as they explore and as they journey throughout the map. Don't sort of misinterpret that as it being easy or anything like that, but you'll kind of be familiar with the sort of typical flow of like working from bonfire to bonfire with the sort of limited items you've got. There's still, of course, going to be that component to the game, but they do factor in that if you're going to be going and sort of traveling for a lot longer, the chances are those resources are going to sort of dwindle along the way, so having means to top up as you go, definitely going to be useful. They said to sort of give you an example from a previous game, you could liken it to sort of the resurrection mechanic from Sekiro. There was sort of a retention of the sense of progress and not wanting to sort of spoil that sense of rhythm or tempo as the player has to play. You know, you kind of get downed, you have this option to once resurrect, and then of course you can sort of keep going right where you are. So they said they have a couple of elements in Elden Ring which come from a similar kind of breed, something that will keep them going, keep them sort of encouraged to explore further, but you won't be able to resurrect in this game. So quite how they plan to do that will of course remain to be seen, but either way, something worth noting. It's also worth mentioning that skills, this is a sort of returning feature from previous games, they are concentrating on the level of freedom that this game gives the player. So before, certain skills used to be attached to certain weaponry. However, now you're actually able to freely interchange skills between a large variety of weapons. They said that they believe there are around 100 skills in total. Obviously, you're free to combine your different skills with different weapons. You're also free to build your character with different weapons and equipment, and you're also free to learn magic as well. So if you throw all of these things in, they think that the sort of character build customization is going to be even richer and even more varied than ever before, which definitely sounds incredibly exciting. Then finally, one of the last things I want to sort of touch on is this mention of spirit summons. Of course, keep in mind the game does still have co-op, it does still have the ability to summon your buddies, but there's also this notion of summoning spirits. They said that you saw some of these in the trailer, and usually these will be enemy characters, but you can summon them as allies to assist you in battle. So those are sort of seen as like your local offline summons. They said that these spirits, they feel like, as well as there being a large variety of them, they're also kind of like a nice collectible hidden element. So, you know, much like you've gone around games to sort of collect other things, it's quite nice to think you might be able to sort of go and pursue these spirits that will not only, you know, act as a collectible, I'm sure there'll be a trophy tied to them, but also the fact they can actually help you in combat is going to be pretty sweet. He said they offer lots of different strategic options, but also the player might find them just like a certain enemy tagging along with them, a certain sort of summon please them aesthetically, so there's lots of strategic and also just personal touches to these summons. And they said that they hope players enjoy discovering them. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely very exciting. There's definitely lots of things to look forward to. Honestly, the sense of scale, it just sounds fantastic, and I can't wait to explore this world. So for the time being, those are a few more details on Elden Ring. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and again, be sure to keep it locked for plenty more. If you want to catch more from us at HyperX Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys TwoSixNine and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch, and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.